Today's guest is an absolute powerhouse. She is a writer, producer of E's LadyGang, and she is the co-founder of the podcast, The Woman Wave. She is an advocate for women's rights and social justice, and as a burn survivor, she hopes to share her story to encourage the message of self-love and acceptance. And she is one of my dear friends, the beautiful and smart Sterling Cates.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Thanks for having me. This is so exciting.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to have you. Just so people know, our boyfriends are beyond best friends.
Yeah.
I don't know, what would you say they are?
Well, we date best friends, so whether you like it or not, you're stuck with me.
No, that's what I was gonna say. Like when I met you, I was like, yes, like I hit the freaking jackpot.
That doesn't always work out.
No, it doesn't. I was like, thank God. But you impressed me from day one. I mean, obviously you're stunning, but you are so brilliant and you're so smart and you're doing so many great things. It gives me so much hope for not only humanity, but for women in general. And you're quite younger than me. I was just like, this is like, I'm so happy to, it kind of reminded me the other day, you were sharing your story of going to the Women's March and how you saw all these young women, you know, chanting. And I was like, that's kind of how I feel about you.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny you bring that up, because whenever I kind of put myself in this position to speak or publicly speak, I'm like, well, I get those insecurities about my age. I'm 27, and I'm like, you know, who gives me the right to say this or do this or whatever? But, you know, I've experienced a lot in my life, and I think we're all just kind of learning, and I think the generations that come up, you know, that's our future. And what you were just saying about the Women's March, I was there recently, and there were these middle schoolers leading a chant of "Women United will never be divided, Women United will never be divided," and I was just watching like, okay, we're good. I can stop. Like, no worries here. You know,
so empowering.
Yeah, so it is super inspiring.
So beautiful, and thank God they have amazing women like you to look up to. And I know you're producing the new show LadyGang, which is awesome. But your passion project is this podcast that you do with your best friend called The Woman Wave. Yeah. And it's all about change making and like just sharing stories and current events and I mean, just like you were saying, like it's not like you might not know everything about politics, but just starting the conversation.
Right. It's actually exactly what it's about. We never claim to be experts about anything or to have anything all figured out, because that's certainly not the case. But what we realized when we started this October of 2016 now, so it's been a year and a half or whatever. That's math that I'm not, you know.
A little bit longer.
Not an expert. No, so we realized, you know, at the time I had a different job, and I was going through this phase, as I think we all do, of, you know, I'm not fulfilled in this. I don't feel like this reflects who I am. And that was a different job than the one I have now. But something had to be done, and I kind of ultimately realized that I could create it. And I could create that fulfillment and do something every day that gives me that creative outlet and that sort of, you know, inspiration on a day-to-day basis, and the rest will just all kind of fall in line. So I called my best friend. We've never lived in the same city while we've been working on this project, so that's been an obstacle in itself. But, you know, we were having these conversations anyway, like, what is going on in the world? Like, how do I file my taxes? What is our president doing? Like, just all of these conversations of just trying to figure it out and going through that together. And so ultimately I was just like, why don't we make these conversations public? Let's press record on them and leave nothing off the table, and in hopes that it inspires other people and other women to start these conversations in their own lives. And that's been amazing to see that that's actually happening.
I mean, I think it's amazing. Just, I mean, first of all, that we live in that era where you can do that. You could say, you know what, I want to do a podcast, and my best friend doesn't even live in the same city, and we're just going to start talking and see who listens. But also, I lost track of what I was going to say. But what I was getting at was that you guys also created a Facebook page where it's kind of like, you use the terms like unapologetically being yourself.
Yeah, so our biggest thing probably, and we always say our can I cuss on here?
Yeah.
We always say our platform and our space is somewhere for badass women who give a shit, first of all, about anything, like whether it's, being environmentally friendly, whether it's politics, whether it's being financially free, or whether it's their family or their career or whatever it is. People and women who care and who are also unapologetically works in progress. And we say that over and over again, but we genuinely believe that, we're all just figuring this out. And once you can kind of like own that, that whole narrative that you have to be perfect, and, we live in this society of comparison, especially with social media and just being a woman and seeing how you're represented in the media and that sort of stuff is can be tough, and it can make people feel inadequate. And so this is just a space for us where we're just like, this is who I am. So I look this way, or I don't think this way, or whatever, but we're all just works in progress.
And I think that that's such an important message. I recently read a quote, and it was like, wow, like being a woman in business, it said, I think women feel like they're just supposed to know everything, and they don't want to ask questions. And, whether it be in business or in personal life, like just handling things. And I think just having a space where they could hear other women talk about common things that are there's a lot going on right now in the world and with the politics and everything. So I'm so excited to continue listening and hear what you guys have to say.
It's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress. But that's what's so humbling. That's what's like, I think that's what people are attracted to. And like I mentioned in your bio, you're obviously this stunning, smart woman. Like people get that right away. But I love that we were talking about your burns, that you're a burn survivor. And I was like, that is your thing. Like that is your token to make you human and be able to share. Because I would think that there's probably a lot of people that automatically, would be like this. And then it's like, no, like I've had some things I've had to go through. And not that you need a scar, a lot of people have scars that you don't ever see. But do you want to share a little bit about that and like what happened? And
yeah, totally. So when I was 12, I was in a grease fire accident, actually making donuts with my best friend at the time. Don't worry, still eat donuts.
It didn't scar you that bad. You're going to eat donuts.
Usually that's what the first question people ask is, I just have one question, do you still eat donuts? And the answer is yes. But anyway, so I was in this grease fire accident where, oil got too hot. You can't combine oil, boiling oil with water. That caused an explosion because when it got too hot, that's how, she tried to put it out at the time. Fortunately, when there was the explosion and just kind of, there's really no other word I can think of to describe it. It was just like a burst through our kitchen. I was holding the pot and I fell and my right leg, my entire right leg caught on fire. Fortunately, the way I fell was around the kitchen island, so it protected the rest of my body, and my right leg was the only thing that was like up in the air. So after that, there were different things that kind of came from that initial experience of, the paramedics coming and being, assessing the severity of it and, contemplating whether or not they would have to amputate and all this stuff.
Oh my gosh.
I'm 12 years old and I'm like, I'm, obviously, and just overload. It was obviously very traumatic. But what's crazy, and I've been reflecting on this more in my adulthood, is that one of my first thoughts was, as a 12-year-old in that position of, or are they going to amputate, or, knowing that this was going to change the course of my life, and just how society is set up for little girls and women, my initial thought was, oh my God, I'll never be, in my head of what's successful was like an actress or a model, or I'll never be able to, that was what I thought success would look like. And obviously that's not the case now, and it didn't have to be the case then. But I just sometimes think like, wow, the fact that that was my first thought and not,
that's interesting.
So I think that's ultimately what's made me so passionate about trying to empower girls and women, specifically with physical differences, but any, we're all different, so we all have something. So it doesn't have to be up to society standards of beauty or anything like that.
And I feel like that's your gift. Like when you can find that unique part of you that makes you different, like to me, that's what I find the most beautiful about a person, and when they really embrace it. And, you could tell the story and you could say the fire happened like this and I was laying out like this, but all the other stuff that you had to go through mentally made you who you are right now.
Right.
And that's the gift in it,
Yeah, and I mean, I won't say that, that realization came immediately. I had to wear a leg garment, which is basically like a compression sleeve. The doctor recommended that I wear it probably for like a year. I ended up wearing it through my junior year of high school because I'd rather see the compression sleeve than my actual burns. And I wore pants all the time and whatever.
Well, that age too. I mean, Kaleo is 14, so I know I'm going back to that junior high. I mean, now he's in high school, but like that time where you're developing and your body is changing, it's already such a vulnerable time. Yeah. Let alone.
I always said about Cleo, I don't know if I could be in high school right now.
I know.
In this time with social media and everything. But yeah, so it was very much a process for me. But eventually, I couldn't even tell you the moment. I think it was towards the end of high school, probably beginning of college, where I was just like, this is a waste of time to be concerned about this. And, I have a very strong support system, and my mom and my brother and my sister that it just, it eventually just didn't matter anymore. Yeah. And I was I couldn't picture my life without it, Yeah. I still feel that way.
Yeah, I love that. And speaking about your mom, I wanted to talk about your mom because I feel like she was such a huge, I mean, obviously you were raised by your mother, but she is, talk about a badass.
Oh my God. Yeah. She should be the one sitting here right now. I'm just, a step in. She's in North Carolina, so couldn't be here today, so I'm filling in. No, she genuinely, and I mean, I know we all say that our moms are the best mom, but I actually have the best mom. No, she is, just an angel. She's the most hardworking person I know. She is a single mom of 3. I was raised without a father because he was an alcoholic and has since passed. He passed away when I was in high school without me ever really having a relationship with him. So that was the whole other aspect of it. But with that said, I mean, my mom has just taught me the about work ethic and loyalty and just pretty much everything. Yeah, she's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, when I got to meet her, I was lucky enough to meet her, and I was like, yep, you are just like your mama.
Yeah.
And on a more personal note, I know we've talked privately, because I was just asking you your thoughts regarding my own stuff going on, raising a son by myself, and asking you what it felt like. And you were very confident in that you never felt like you were really missing anything because your mom was such a great mother. And that was such a relief to hear as a single mom, because I worry about this and I'm like, well, Sterling turned out real damn good. So I think
we all have some stuff. But
I think I'm going to be okay.
Yeah. No, I think you're an incredible mom. I've gotten to witness it firsthand, and you juggling your business and doing that all by yourself. I mean, it's just countless sources of inspiration from you. But speaking to the single mom part of it, yeah, growing up, I'm sure it was extremely stressful for her, and especially with my accident and everything when I was 12, she never made that feel like a burden, financially or otherwise. She never made it feel like having 3 kids on her own was a burden.
It's amazing.
It's like, you know, I never
it's
felt
amazing.
like I missed out.
Yeah.
And something that I've learned just, you know, by not having that relationship with a father figure is obviously my just like awe of women in general and the strength that we as women have. But I think, you know, for me personally, my father not being there was the best thing that he could have done. You know, it would have just been I would have had I can't even imagine growing up with that sort of, you know, turbulence. That wasn't there because he wasn't present. So that was something that I've realized in, you know, my older years. I didn't always feel that way, but I was like, he was being the best dad he knew he could be by not being here. And that was what he was capable of. So
and I mean, I can't agree more. When situations in my life that have happened that maybe I didn't want to happen, looking back, I was like, well, that was probably for the best, and that made me who I am, and that definitely had part of it. But I want to ask you, what inspires you?
Well, you know, I could continue to talk about my mom for hours, but no, she's a constant source of inspiration. But just, you know, women inspire me, and I think that's kind of translated in my work, you know, for LadyGang, but also the Women Wave, and just the friendships that I surround myself with, and just this movement that we're in and I've been in for generations. But, you know, I think there's so much to that. But then also the young girls that are, you know, growing up in this age where women are empowered, and there's this conversation going on, and they're hearing this conversation. I think that makes me extremely hopeful.
Yeah. What do you think about, you know, every time I connect with people nowadays, social media seems to be such a big topic. And I know that, you know, as a producer and having a podcast, like, you obviously use the platforms to connect with your audience and to share it. What's your feeling on social media? Do you embrace it, or do you have like some quarrels about it? What do you think?
God, it's so complicated. I have such a love-hate relationship with social media. I love connecting with people on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or whatever it is. And also I love hearing people's perspective on things. And I think that social media is a great platform for that. And even with the Women Wave, you know, we'll get messages that are like, I registered to vote because of you guys, or I got health insurance today. Thank you for the information. And
so
it's like,
cool.
Great. I would have not known that otherwise. So, you know, like those sort of conversations are inspiring to me. You know, I kind of said this a minute ago, but kind of being at a formative, or it was college when Instagram sort of became a thing. I didn't even realize it was a social media platform. I thought it was just you edit your photos on there. I had to go back and delete like some stuff that I did not know other people could see. It was like pictures of cats. Like, I was like, what's happening? So anyway, that, you know, there's just a lot of comparison that happens, particularly with women, and something that I've done more recently is I don't follow accounts that make me feel like I'm comparing myself to anyone or make me feel bad. Like if I'm looking at a page, I'm like, this makes me feel like, you know, my body doesn't look like hers, or I'm not traveling as much as he is, or, you know, any of that sort of that negative self-talk, I just kind of eliminate it completely, which was, you know, harder when I was working in entertainment news because you have to just kind of be in it all the time. But I've been able to take a step back from that and be more present with real life.
I think that though that's a great thing to tell people, is because, you know, you are affected by it. If you have to be on social media, which I think we both do to a degree for work, only follow the accounts that actually make you feel good, because it does have an impact on you, you know. And I do struggle with it myself, coming from the background of being a model and then kind of transitioning and then falling prey to, well, I want to get likes, but I need to be authentic. And it is a constant struggle. And I think I've kind of gotten to a place where I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Like I post picture of Cleo, I lose people. I post picture of Devin. I'm like, I don't know. You know, Devin's like, don't post me anymore. I was like, I don't care. I want to post whatever I want to post.
Yeah.
But it is interesting, and I think in general, I think what's going to happen is whatever is truthful and authentic is going to shine and keep growing, and all the rest are going to.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting to this point where people aren't over social media, but they're also craving experiences.
Yeah.
And so that's why you see, you know, festivals are so popular, and I think there'll be more intimate experiences that people can
gather
go to and gather
in real life
and have conversation and it not be through a screen.
Yeah.
And I know that I am anyway. And I think that's one of our next goals for the Women Wave is to have our first event in person this year. So that's really exciting.
That's going to be amazing. I think we're missing that community and sisterhood and getting together. Every time I get together with my friends, I feel high for like 2 days. It's like a recharge, a reboot.
You don't have to bring your phone.
Yeah.
Or
you don't have to bring your phone. Yeah. So I like to ask all my guests, and just tell me what first thing that comes to your mind, don't overthink it, is what's your golden secret?
Golden secret, other than using the Youth Beauty Golden Secret face oil.
Check.
Yeah, that was a hashtag not sponsored ad. I would say something. There's just so many sort of pieces of wisdom that I try to live life by. But something that I feel like I've lived and not just read and try to live it. But I did some sort of like self-development workshops and that sort of stuff. And one of the things that stood out and I really resonated with was they say to throw your hat over the fence and then go get it. And for me, that's been, you know, whether I've been ready, whether I think I'm ready, whether I've prepared, done all my research, I'm, you know, in this perfect position to do something. I'm never that. So I just throw my hat over the fence and then I figure out a way to go get it. And then, and that can look a lot of different ways, but ultimately what I've learned through just taking action, and, you know, my mom will tell you this too. If I have an idea, I'm like, I've done it the next day. Like I'm kind of a mover and a shaker that way, I usually have no idea what I'm doing. But I think the biggest lesson from living that way is I've learned that I am in control of what happens and, you know, what's going on, and that I live my life knowing that I'm capable of choosing what I'm doing and what my life looks like.
I think that might be one of my favorite golden secrets so far.
Really?
Yeah. This has come up so much in my life. Like people have been asking, like, you know, or saying that they're scared to do something, or, you know, whether it's, you know, friends deciding if they're going to have children or start a new business or do this. And that metaphor you used is so great. And it's the truth. You're never ready. You're never in a position where everything is lined up and you're ready to go. You kind of just have to do it and then figure it out. And if you fail, you learn from it. But failure is definitely part of the process.
Yeah, it's movement. You're not staying in the same spot.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the best advice, especially for women. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much,
Thank
sister.
you.
Thank you for being here.